It's always good to have a microphone. Thank you, Director. Would like to call this meeting to order. It is 9:02, and I would like to take roll call. Buchanan Davis.
He's in the public room. We're promoting him right now, but he is online.
Okay. David Beckham. Present. Donna Michaels.
Present.
Drew John. Present. Patrice Horseman.
Here.
Pete Kim.
Here.
Ted Cook. Here. Tim Tamir.
Here.
Jonathan Lyons. Here. Buchanan, is he back in the meeting? We're going to count him as here since you can confirm and see him. I will now call on the non-voting members.
I'm here, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thanks, Buck. Non-voting members: Elizabeth Alvarado Thorson, Gail Griffin, Karen Peters, Lauren Kuby, Robin Said, Sandra Watson, Stephanie Stahl Hamilton,
Present.
TJ Shope, and Tom Buchatsky. Director, welcome. Thank you. Roll call is complete. For the record, please remember to identify yourself when making a motion or requesting to speak. Please ensure you are unmuted for any votes. And for those in the room, please remember to leave the microphones on the table for sound quality purposes. In addition, if any board member wishes to depart the meeting at any time, please announce your departure for the recorded meeting minutes. Now it's time for the disclosure and conflicts of interests. Joe, have we received any conflicts?
Morning, Joe Soteli, General Counsel. No disclosures have been submitted for today's meeting.
Okay. Do any board members wish to declare any conflicts at this time? All right, thank you. We're going to go to agenda item number 3, Director Report. Director McGuire.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Welcome everybody to an extremely exciting meeting of the WIFA board. As you can imagine, I'm going to have quite a bit to say when we get to agenda item number 4, so I won't steal my own thunder at this point, but there are a few administrative things I want to note for the director's report. So the first is, board members, you might remember we had a few items that were explicitly tabled at the last meeting, and we did not agendize those items for today. Given the enormity and the what we're doing today, I didn't want us to get distracted, wanted us to be able to focus just on the long-term augmentation fund. So the chairman was amenable to just moving those items to December's meeting. You will see in December proposed policy regarding WIFA's lending to HOAs. That is something that we talked about in October. You'll also see the entire universe of remaining water supply development revolving fund applications, which is something that the committee is going to meet at the beginning of December so that by our board meeting, you'll have that. So critical funding decisions to make at that time. The agenda is going to be pretty diverse in December and may have something for every single one of our programs. So just be prepared for that. Second, wanted to make some very happy staffing announcements. Pleased to welcome 2 new project managers here to Team WIFA. We have Brandon Lofgren and Casey Ullman. They are joining Lindsay's team to serve as our direct line of communication as project managers with borrowers and grantees, and we are extremely happy to be at full strength on the project side once again. But Director Buchatsky, I also apologize once again for stealing them over from ADWR. We've also welcomed a new contract accountant, Dawn Warhurst. She's providing some much needed help to our accounting team as we're processing quite literally hundreds of reimbursements on our loans and grants. So I know Denise and her team are very happy to have Dawn aboard as well. But I will not say that we are now completely staffed at WIFA because we actually have a brand new position open. We are expanding the team and adding a communications manager to round out our external affairs department. So that application is still open. Anybody who's interested, or if you know of somebody who's interested in partnering to tell the story of how WIFA is securing our water future for generations to come, let us know, send them our way. We'll be very happy to have that position filled ASAP. So last but not least, I also wanted to announce that the in-state loan program for the long-term augmentation fund is officially open. That application went live on Monday. We've announced it to stakeholders via email, via social media. We'll continue to market that through our communications channels. There will also be, for anybody interested, a pre-application webinar on December 4th. So if anyone is interested as a borrower or just interested generally in what that program and what that is supposed to do, more details to come on how to join that with us on December 4th. But very excited to have that going and hopefully continue to meet the needs of water providers throughout the state in a more immediate way. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Ben, reach out to Lindsay, and we'll get you the information you need for that. Mr. Chair, if there are no questions, that's what I have.
Any questions from the board? If not, we're going to go to our regular agenda and we will begin consideration of items on the regular agenda. Members of the public wishing to speak on a specific item on the regular agenda may request to speak prior to the chairman opening discussion on that item. And for instructions on how to submit a speaker's card, please refer to the notes on proceedings at the end of the meeting agenda. I am excited to be here on agenda item number 4 for some long-term water augmentation in light of some of the current challenges with water in Arizona. We've long looked forward to this day. I want to commend the board in its entirety. I was finally briefed last week on the work that's been done, although I know that they've done a tremendous amount of work behind closed doors to get us to this point. I appreciate Ted and his leadership leading this discussion, and each member of the board that has worked diligently to get us here. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Director McGuire.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And with your blessing, I will take a few moments to recognize where we are and how we got here. So if you remember, just less than 3 years ago, which might feel like a long time, but is really truly a blip on the radar, this board was still in its infancy. I don't think it was actually even officially a board at that point. And you were trying to determine how you were going to steward the mandate that you've been given to utilize state resources to find new renewable water supplies for Arizona. You didn't have a whole lot more direction than that. You didn't have a required preference for how to make that mandate a reality. And so wisely, this board determined that you wanted a process. You wanted a process to follow by which, as my predecessor said a lot, we could attract the crazy ideas, but then only pursue the good ones, right? You also made transparency a core consideration of that process. You recognized that if public resources were going to be used to pursue a project like this, of this enormity, of this scale, of this importance, the public didn't just need to be involved in that process, the public deserved to be involved in that process. So wisely, you utilized a tool that industry's used for decades to attract good ideas. You used a procurement. And as you'll see today, procurement's a really good tool for accomplishing your first goal, to bring the public and the private sector together to find qualified partners with innovative ideas. You're going to see today that this procurement did exactly what it was supposed to do. It attracted quality teams who have experience in building complex water infrastructure across North America and beyond. You're going to see that the procurement encouraged those teams to come up with innovative ideas for projects that can make renewable, resilient water sources available to Arizona, but also in all of the communities where the projects would be located. You're going to see projects today that you've considered that have been narrowed down from a very wide universe of ideas, because as it's required by the solicitation that you all wrote and approved, they needed to be thoughtful and creative and realistic, and that is what has finally made it to this last decision point here. Now, we're still going to have a lot of questions. You are still going to have a lot of questions about financing and permitting, political implications, environmental considerations, and a whole lot more. But thanks to the process that you all have developed and that you all have been very disciplined in following, we can continue the conversations to answer those questions with the teams that you select here today. And we can be confident that these are questions that are worth answering, right? These are projects worthy of pursuit, and our work to answer those questions will not be in vain. But for the public, today also marks the beginning of a process for you all. This is going to be a very robust process going forward, designed to maximize Arizona's chances of successfully and efficiently developing an imported water portfolio. Procurement was a great tool, like I said, for attracting these projects, but its effectiveness also depended on its competitiveness. And its competitiveness depended on our ability to maintain the confidentiality of the ideas that were being vetted. Now, after today, the procurement's over, and that changes. And after today, not only are we going to allow, we're going to invite impacted stakeholders to the table to show us what they need, what you need to be able to consider these projects viable. Tell us what you need to define a successful project. What does that mean for your communities? What does that mean for your neighbors? What does that mean for the ecosystem and in the environment in which you live? Our commitment to the public through the solicitation is that we would use the process to ensure that we were only bringing you quality projects from the very beginning. And that once those quality projects were identified, we'd bring you to the table to do further quality control. So to our neighbors, our stakeholders, our future customers, we again are very confident that these projects are worth your time. So we are excited to invite you. We hope you will take us up on the invitation to partner with us as we go forward. Determine whether these projects continue to be worthy of your support, your cooperation, and eventually, frankly, your money. The future of water augmentation in Arizona is no longer a hypothetical. This is no longer a dream for someday. This is no longer something that Arizona has been talking about for decades. This is now something that's reality. You today, as WIFA's leadership, are making this happen. And I cannot say enough how proud I am of the board, but also of WIFA's absolutely incredible and talented and dedicated staff for all of your willingness to be creative and thoughtful and courageous in approaching WIFA's monumental mandate. So with that, Mr. Chairman, just a few notes on the process for today. Last Thursday, the Long-Term Water Augmentation Committee met to consider 5 augmentation project proposals, which were deemed qualified and responsive under the terms of the procurement. Today, the committee has recommended 4 of those proposals for consideration and approval by the board. So at this time, the board may determine that it desires to enter executive session to discuss the confidential materials provided to it. And upon conclusion of an executive session, if that is what you desire, the board will return to regular session here in the public and will vote on those 4 projects. So if there are no further questions for me, Mr. Chairman, I will turn it back to you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Do we have any questions from the board for WIFA staff or Director McGuire at this time? Have we received any? Okay, Tom.
Mr. Chairman, not a question, but I'd like to share this with you. Chelsea gave some good history. This is a huge milestone for the state of Arizona. We have huge water challenges facing us, and this is going to be a key tool for us to be able to deal with those challenges. And for me personally, this idea of expanding WIFA and having this augmentation become part of WIFA started on a whiteboard with a kernel of an idea in about this time in 2021. And Gail Griffin, Sini Kerr, and Rusty Bowers came to my office, and we started working on what now is these new responsibilities for WIFA and got that legislation passed. So for me personally, this is a huge, moment for me as well. So really looking forward to the conversation today and hopefully moving some of these projects forward.
Thank you, Director. Senator Kuby.
Good morning, everyone. I just had a question because today we'll be presumably voting to move projects forward. I realize it's not anywhere near final approval, but I'm just concerned about transparency because wouldn't you want to have input from the public, from environmental groups, from a whole range of stakeholders that staff could absorb and use when discussing these proposals in executive session? And I worry that maybe the engagement may be happening too late.
Senator Kuby, I think that's an excellent question, right? But at the beginning of the question, I think you partially answered it in that this is not a final determination. The decision the board makes today is not, is this a project that we are going to expend state resources on? Is this the right project for Arizona? The decision today is, are these the projects that are worth the time of all of the people you just mentioned, our neighbors, environmental considerations, to go forward and answer the very questions and give the very input that you described? I'll also note that the work that we have done on the solicitation and the technical expertise that we've been given, the questions that have been answered within the solicitation are pretty detailed themselves. So I think that there's significant information for the board and for our non-voting members as well to give input and have a meaningful discussion and a meaningful decision about the projects that they advance today. We look forward for sure to that further discussion, to making sure that stakeholders are considered, to making sure that all of those questions we have about the soundness, the responsibility of these projects are answered. Today's question is, are these projects even worth having that conversation? It is not a final decision to say these are the right projects to go forward beyond that conversation.
Thank you. And just as a follow-up, thank you, Mr. Chair. I assume that we're going to have a defined stakeholder engagement process going forward and that we're most definitely going to be reaching out and including tribal communities, having them at the table. I feel that's essential, as well as other stakeholders. But we know how important our tribal communities are, and how water is water is definitely a threat to all of us. The drought is a threat to all of us, but particularly to tribal communities. So I'm hoping we'll have a defined community engagement process.
Very much so. A defined intentional is the word that I've used many times. It will be an engagement process where not only specific stakeholder groups are brought to the table for their particular perspectives, like tribes, as you mentioned, and others, but also where we have an opportunity project by project for those stakeholders to come to the table and for everyone to know when they need to engage with WIFA, at what point there will be decisions that they need to give their input on. We will be asking a lot, frankly, of our stakeholders and our friends. So we appreciate your concern, and we hope that everyone will definitely continue to pay attention to our outward facing communication. Ben and his team have been working very hard on defining what that process looks like. There's a lot more to come.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to, for the record, note that Representative Griffin is now here with us. Thank you for joining us. Do we have any requests for public comment at this time, Joe?
I'll turn over to Ben.
Ben?
Mr. Chairman, we have a few requests. Some are on agenda item 4 in whole, and some are on agenda item 4C. What's your pleasure?
Let's hear those at that time.
All right, Mr. Chairman, we have John Monson representing the Sierra Club.
John, are you there?
Go ahead, John.
Apologies, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Board members, my name is John Munson, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Sierra Club. I'm going to be addressing the proposal by EPCOR Water Innovation Partners, Other Water Sources. I read with interest the article yesterday by Capital Media Services. It is understandable that the Canadian company EPCOR has not wanted to publicize its partner, California corporation Cadiz Inc., and its so-called groundwater bank. This makes sense since the Cadiz water mining project has been around for 40 years and its main product has been accumulating debt. Cadiz Inc.'s water mining scheme in California's Mojave Desert is unsustainable. It would cause extensive damage to the desert, its wildlife, and Native American cultural practices, and is never going to be operational, and for a good reason. Cadiz would drain an ancient aquifer far faster than it could recharge. Federal scientists say recharge may be as low as 2,000 acre-feet a year. Cadiz wants to pump out 50,000. Moreover, Cadiz has no path forward to send its water anywhere, and it's been blocked by California officials and agencies. Under California Water Code 1815, the California State Lands Commission needs to give its approval before Cadiz can export water. Cadiz must prove that its project has no adverse impacts on wildlife, the watershed, or cultural resources. Demonstrating no adverse impacts is an extremely high bar. Cadiz's own lobbyists admitted that it could not pass these standards when the water statute was under consideration. The California review process can take up to 2 years, and given the mountain of scientific evidence against Cadiz, it has no chance of approval, which is why Cadiz has never applied. To date, Cadiz has not made a favorable impression on the commission that will evaluate it. In December 2024, the California State Lands Commission unanimously rejected Cadiz's request for a pipeline lease over state land. It was a rejection both of the lease and Cadiz's credibility. Commission Chair Malia Cohen cited the company's financial instability, mounting debt, and lack of transparency, saying, quote, "We have no assurance this project will ever come to fruition. I'm not willing to gamble the taxpayers' money," close quote. She also condemned Cadiz's failure to disclose its pipeline plans as required, reminding them, quote, "Leases are issued at the discretion of the commission," close quote. The water mining project has a great deal of indigenous opposition, which I hope other speakers will address. I want to suggest there is no reason for Arizona to get involved in a project whose partners include a failing California water mining project that is only capable of exporting grief to Arizona. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. David, I'm going to recognize you right now. Or Ted. Who would like to go? Would you like to address
Go ahead,
this?
Ted. It's not one of the four.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, anticipating that we may have, this is Ted Cook, I'm the chairman of the Long-Term Water Augmentation Committee. This project, the Cadiz project that's being referred to by the speaker, is not one of the projects that was recommended by the committee to the board that's under consideration for today. So I'll pass it back to the chairman, but I don't know if more comments are appropriate since that project is not agendized.
I think that's sufficient. And we'll move on. Next comment, Ben.
Mr. Chairman, Ron Escobar.
For which item?
This is 4C. 4C.
And Joe?
You did previously note that you wanted to wait until we were voting individually on
Yeah.
that
The plan
item.
is to, yeah, so
for
it is,
specific comment on
if the
that item.
board desires to go into an executive session, you will still come back to that agenda item at the time to vote for it. So you can delay that public comment until then. And if there's any for agenda item 4, generally, I would take those now then.
Are there any general that are not
Mr.
specific
Chairman, we
per
have
item?
one more, Jennifer Martin McLeod, representing the Sierra Club Grand Canyon chapter.
Is it general or item specific?
Just for item number 4.
Well, then we'll come back
Okay.
to that after executive session.
We did take
You
the
should
comment just
take-
now for agenda item 4 generally, so go ahead and take this
Okay.
one.
Okay.
We'll come back to
All
the
right.
specific ones when we
Okay.
vote.
Jennifer, if you want to raise your hand, we'll allow you to speak.
Please proceed, Jennifer.
Jennifer, you should have the ability to unmute your mic.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Chair and members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I'm speaking on behalf of Sierra Club's Grand Canyon chapter and want to express some concerns about the proposals under consideration today, although I understand there will be further opportunity in the future to talk about that. But also to talk just a little bit about the process up to this point. After reviewing the limited materials that are available on the projects you're considering today, it's clear that they raise some profound questions about costs, feasibility, environmental impacts, and long-term consequences for Arizona communities. Desal in particular remains extraordinarily energy intensive and expensive with major brine disposal and marine ecosystem risks. And in some cases, there are just too few specifics at this point to meaningfully evaluate their benefits or harms. But the fundamental issue is that the models rely on private for-profit corporations exerting substantial control over Arizona's future water supply. So I think it'll be really important for the public to understand how that's going to be handled. That's not a path we should take lightly or at all when the public bears the risk and corporations extract the profit. And then finally, I just want to touch a little bit on the process up to this point. In most cases, meetings related to this topic have taken place entirely in executive session. And so any substantive discussion, evaluation, negotiation has all happened behind closed doors. I understand that there may be a need to protect certain confidential or proprietary information, but there needs to be a better balance between protecting that information and providing the public a window into the decision-making process that's been going on with the public's business and decisions that will face or that will shape Arizona's water future for generations. So I think there really needs to be a better model developed for how to handle this in the future, one that protects legitimately confidential details without shutting out the public. And then finally, I just want to stress that meaningful outreach must include all impacted parties, tribes, rural communities, environmental organizations, and the public at large. The decisions can't just be made with only industry partners in the room. And so I thank you for the opportunity to comment, and we will stay tuned to hear the discussions and opportunities for public comment that will be available in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, one more. We have Tammy Weaver. Tammy, go ahead and raise your hand.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So great comments that we've heard thus far. Appreciate the time to speak as well. I'm a resident of Arizona. I echo some of those comments about the public bears the risk and companies are receiving the profit. We're seeing such an influx of data centers in my area, the semiconductor industry. I'm very fearful for the future of Arizona and, personally reconsidering whether my family has a future here in Arizona because of the concerns over water scarcity and water quality. I really hope that you're doing the right thing on behalf of all Arizonans, not just corporations. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to address anything? All right. And nothing else, Ben? Okay, at this time, I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I move we go into.
Thank you, David.
Session.
And we'll have to clarify the reasons for going in to executive session as well.
To receive confidential information pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A3 for discussion or consultation for legal device. And do we have a motion? David is a first. Do we have a second?
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ted, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We will adjourn into executive session.
And to clarify again, that was for confidential information and legal advice.
Yes.
Correct? Thank you.
And board members, non-voting members, remember the executive session will be on the Teams link that is in your calendar invite. So we will not be doing this on Zoom. We will be doing it on the separate Teams. We'll see you in there. Oh, okay. Start over.
All right. Buchanan Davis.
I'm here.
Excellent. Donna Michaels.
Present.
Patrice Horseman.
Here.
Pete Kim.
Here.
Tim Tamir.
Here.
Non-voting members. Elizabeth Alvarado Thorson. Gail Griffin. Present. Karen Peters. Lauren Kuby. Robin Said. Sandra Watson. Stephanie Stahl Hamilton.
Present.
TJ Shope. And Tom Bushatsky.
Here.
Thank you. The board will now consider each of the items under the agenda. We met in executive session to obtain legal counsel. And before beginning the separate and line item consideration, I'm going to turn some time over to Joe for clarification on our approach to this procurement.
Thank you, Chairman. Joe Satelli, General Counsel. During executive session, the board asked me to provide additional explanation of the process and what today's vote concerns. So first, perhaps something that's obvious to everyone online and in the room is that procurements are by their nature at odds with open meeting laws. Had the committee and board elected to engage in a procurement for a final solution and development agreement for a specific project, the public would not have been part of that decision in any meaningful way. Instead, the committee and board, recognizing that concern, designed a two-part process that allows for public engagement. That engagement will occur with teams that are under contract outside of the procurement process. This procurement process was designed to bring those teams to the table so they and their ideas could be subject to later public scrutiny before a project is ultimately selected. Public confusion surrounding this process is understandable. This is not the typical path by which governments conduct procurements. Under the typical process, today's vote would be the final decision. This is the supplier I'm going to use. This is the product I'm going to purchase. Reiterating what's been said previously, that is not the vote before the board today. Instead, the board is voting today to enter into a contract. That contract is the start of a process, not the end. Under these contracts, the board will approve task orders. Those task orders designate the scope of work, the price, and the deliverables to be brought to the board. Importantly, those task orders also will contain cost controls. You are voting today on who will have the opportunity to receive these task orders. You will later vote at subsequent meetings on what instructions to provide and how much to pay to have those instructions fulfilled. And with that, I'm available to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from the board at this time? All right, if not, agenda item 4A, Acciona Fengate Water Augmentation Alliance Ocean Water, and I've asked Director McGuire to provide some additional insight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So for context, before discussion and a vote, I'd like to give a brief explanation of each of the projects that will be on the agenda today. So for the Acciona Fengate concept, this water importation proposal actually proposes 4 ideas in one large proposal. This importation project concept would create new water supply for Arizona through existing or planned desalination facilities in California and Baja California, both along the Pacific coast and in the Sea of Cortez. The water supplied by those desalination plants could either be exchanged for a portion of California and Mexico's allocation of Colorado River water, or brought to Arizona through direct conveyance. Both options are open under the terms of the proposal. The proposal also has an idea to fund upgrades to irrigation infrastructure and modernization to reduce water losses. The water conserved by this irrigation modernization upgrade would be exchanged for a portion of the Colorado River allocation in the states where these upgrades are located, which would include California, Utah, and as well as the nation of Mexico. And lastly, in this proposal, there would be recovery, treatment, and reuse of reclaimed water from Mexico and Colorado. The water supplies developed through those projects could be used locally by the communities, which reduces their local withdrawals of Colorado River water. And again, water supplied by reclamation and reuse would be exchanged for a portion of the Colorado River allocations in the state or nation in which they are located.
Thank you, Director McGuire. Are there any questions of the board for WIFA staff? I would also like any comments from our non-voting members. Have we received any requests for public comment on item 4A?
No request to speak on 4A.
Okay. I'll bring it back to the board for any additional discussion. May I have a motion for agenda item 4A, Acciona Fengate Water Augmentation Alliance? Yes, Ted.
I move that the board approve the recommendation from the Long-Term Water Augmentation Committee to approve the issuance of a base contract to Acciona Fengate Water Augmentation Alliance Ocean Water Importation Project.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
John, I'll second that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Tim?
I think Drew beat me to the punch.
Yes, he did. Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any additional board member discussion at this time? With no further discussion, we will call for a vote. All those in favor?
Let's do roll call, Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor. So I will call the roll, starting with Mr. Beckham.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
May I explain my vote, please?
Yes.
Two things that I wanted to explain as part of my vote here. And I'm going to vote aye on this, and not just because I'm the chairman of the committee that brought this recommendation to the board, but because I personally think that this one is a good idea on each, and here's why. On each of these projects, the committee and the evaluation team evaluated the team composition and experience of the team, and that was all the way through design, construction, operations, and maintenance, their experience in the past with these types of projects, financing, those types of things. We evaluated their proposal concept that Director McGuire just summarized for us, and their detailed plan for how, if awarded a base contract, they would proceed through the task order phase 2 of this whole process. So that was the meat for us to consider of whether or not this project was a good bet. Let's use it that way. A second thing that I was looking at as far as evaluation, particularly of team experience and so on and so forth, was the necessary partnerships to be able to get this done, not just on a technical basis, not just on a financial basis, but to have those partners. And this is in the areas of financing. In particular, we need private equity to get this done. We need private expertise to get this done. WIFA cannot operate a plant. WIFA cannot build a plant. WIFA cannot design a plant. WIFA cannot finance this on our own. But most importantly is, what is the risk allocation on this project? There's certain things that WIFA is equipped to handle with respect to risk, and there are things that other entities are more equipped to handle. So I wanted to say that up front. As part of my evaluation process, risk allocation is an important component of that whole thing, and I will vote aye.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Mr. Davis. Buck, can you?
Sorry, I was having a hard time coming off mute. I'd like to explain my vote real fast on this project. And maybe this applies to some of the others, so I may not repeat myself down the road, but this is a legitimate concept. It's a legitimate team. And so now we're about to embark in a process that will determine if it's a legitimate project, one that evaluates all the risks, including finance and political and environmental and all of that. And I want to echo what Ted just said. It's going to take everybody in the state and all of the stakeholders. But I'm excited that we have a project that is, again, what I would characterize as legitimate, that we can begin this evaluation. And so as we embark on this, it's exciting. This is a good time. And I'm excited that we have something that we can realistically look at and potentially move forward with. And so with that, I vote aye.
Thank you.
Ms. Horstman.
Yes, and I'd like to explain my vote, please.
Please proceed.
Thank you. And I think also that this may apply to others as well. And first and foremost, this has been a robust process. And with the intent for the successful delivery of augmented water for Arizona. These are quality project ideas. There was extreme vetting that was undertaken. We are now going to continue the conversation with these projects, and I'm really looking forward for this continued conversation. We not only encourage, but we need the input of all here in Arizona. That includes tribes. It includes the rural part of Arizona. It includes environmental organizations. It includes industry. We need everyone at the table for discussion and review of these really important projects. We're on the path, which was our charge, to deliver augmented water for Arizona. This is just the beginning. It's an important beginning, and I look forward to the conversation and input from the public as this proceeds. So thank you. I vote aye.
Thank you, Patrice.
Mr. John.
Aye.
Mr. Kim.
I'm going to be voting aye as well, and I would also like to explain my vote. I think that most in the audience will understand that I'm largely in agreement with the comments that preceded mine. The particular project in question is a complicated one. It's got 4 different parts in it, and as opposed to the EPCOR, which also has several parts, but decided to split them up. So I just want to make sure that's clear to everybody. But this particular group, even whether they're taken individually or as a group, are very complicated in nature. And there are questions that remain to be answered. And at this point, this is by design. what we're trying to do right now is to make sure that through this process, which has been designed, ironically, with transparency in mind, we have questions surrounding things like what does the exchange look like? What are if it's direct or if it's going to be conveyance, or what are the negotiations with the Mexican government look like? Should they be needed? This is exactly why we're going forward with this particular structure, so that we can ask these questions and have the teams answer them in a public manner. The task orders that will be given will contain these questions, and it'll be yet another vote where everybody gets to weigh in so that we can ask these questions together. And the overall goal here is to make sure that together we come to a place where transparently we can find the overall best solution. I will warn and, just predict that there's going to be a robust discussion and not everybody is going to be perfectly happy, because perfect solutions aren't going to exist in a topic that is as complicated as this one. But despite that challenge, I'm super excited about how this is going to go, and I'm very proud of how things have progressed to this point. And with that, I will vote aye on this project.
Thank you, Pete.
Ms. Michaels.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also agree with the vote of aye. And I think that I underscore that with this allows us then to assure or become assured that the projects align to the values and benefit expectations of our communities. And, there's great variety of what looks good to whom, but we can't know that until we begin. And certainly the qualifications and the other criteria having been met, it makes it incumbent, in my opinion, upon us to now see what the questions are, how we can bring transparency to it. And for that reason, and others, I cast my vote to aye. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Tanya. Tim, are you able to unmute?
I have just unmuted. Thank you. Almost to the airport. So I will explain my vote briefly. This project is big. This project is bold. This project is possible. And by that, I mean the portfolio of projects with one major backbone and other high potential possibilities to bring new water to Arizona. Having said that, I look forward to fewer executive sessions and far more very public, very stakeholder engaged conversations as we move forward. With that, I cast my vote aye.
Thank you, Tim. Safe travels.
And Chairman Lyons.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 9-0.
Motion passes. Thank you. Agenda item 4B, EPCOR Water Innovation Partners, Ocean Water. Director McGuire.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. As a brief explanation, as proposed by EPCOR, this water importation project concept would involve a desalination facility in Baja California, Mexico. This facility would generate a new source of water for use by Mexico, and the concept includes the development of the desalination facility as well as a pipeline to deliver the water north of the plant near the U.S.-Mexico border for distribution and use within Mexico via the Colorado River. Arizona's investment in the project would support the development of the facility and the pipeline, and the water supplied by the desalination plant would then be exchanged for a portion of Mexico's allocation of Colorado River water.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board for WIFA staff? Are there any questions from the non-voting members or any comments? On item 4B, have we received any requests for public comment?
Mr. Chairman, no request on this item.
Okay. Is there any additional board discussion? We will go to may I have a motion for agenda item 4B, EPCOR Water Innovation Partners?
Sure.
Yes.
I move that the board accept the recommendation from the Long-Term Water Augmentation Committee to approve EPCOR Water Innovation Partners Ocean Water Importation Project.
Thank you for the motion, Ted. Do we have a second?
So moved.
David, thank you. Any additional board member discussion? With no further discussion, we will have a roll call vote. Director McGuire.
Mr. Beckham,
Aye.
Mr. Cook,
Aye.
Mr. Davis,
Aye.
Ms. Horstman,
Aye.
Mr. John,
Aye.
Mr. Kim.
Aye.
Ms. Michaels,
With the record showing the same rationale as the previous vote, I vote aye for this as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Tomier,
Aye.
and Chairman Lyons.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, the vote is 9-0.
As a matter of record, Joe, just for the public's understanding and knowledge, how many votes are required to carry this motion forward?
Just tell your general counsel, as this will ultimately enable approval of funding from the Long-Term Financial Assistance Fund, affirmative vote of 6 of the voting members is required.
Thank you for clarification. Agenda item 4C, EPCOR Water Innovation Partners, other water sources. Director McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As proposed by EPCOR, this water importation project concept would invest in and develop groundwater storage and recovery in California. The storage would be underground storage of excess surface water runoff in the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta, among other sources. And the water supplied by the groundwater storage and recharge would then be exchanged for a portion of California's allocation of Colorado River water. So in other words, Arizona's investment in the storage facilities of this recharge would then facilitate our ability to access other water in California, specifically Colorado River allotment.
Thank you, Director McGuire. Do we have any questions from the board for WIFA staff? Do we have any questions from our non-voting board members? Have we received any requests for public comment on this item?
Mr. Chairman, 3 requests. Ron Escobar.
Mr. Escobar, are you on the line?
Yes, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir. You have 3 minutes, sir.
Good morning, Board of Directors. My name is Ron Escobar. I'm the director of the Chemehuevi Tribal Preservation Office. The Chemehuevi Indian Tribe is located off the Havasu Lake, California, along the Colorado River. Even though you guys just stated that Cadiz is not one of the projects you are considering today, we have time to invest because the lack of information of sharing, the tribe still wants to comment on the matter. So the tribe has opposed the Cadiz project, also known as the Mojave Groundwater Bank, since the early 2000s, because it pumps and drains 25 times more groundwater each year than the aquifer can replenish. The area in the California desert is our traditional territory. The overpumping would lower the water table, dry up many desert springs fed by the aquifer. These springs are sacred to our tribe, giving life year-round to plants and animals, including bighorn sheep, mountain lions, and bobcats. These springs are part of the cultural landscape found in our stories, songs, trails, and religious ceremonies of our people. In other words, this water preserves our well-being for our Chemehuevi tribe. Stopping the Cadiz project isn't only critical for Native communities, but all those who need real, reliable water source solutions. Cadiz has proposed for decades ago, but remains stalled because groundwater mining is not reliable and sufficient. No one wants to tap turned off. No one wants to spend billions of dollars to pay the bill for human-made disaster, like Los Angeles taxpayers are now doing to address the overpumping in the eastern Sierra Owens Valley. Cadiz is proposing an environmental economic disaster that is completely avoidable. California agencies have been doing the right thing, taking action to block Cadiz so that we save water for our children and our grandchildren. Arizona needs to do the same, and we urge you to reject Cadiz, which has no place in our water future. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Chance Wilcox, representing the National Parks Conservation Association.
Chance, are you on the line? Hello, Chance.
Hello, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you have 3 minutes, Chance.
Perfect, thank you so much. My name is Chance Wilcox. I'm the California Desert Program Manager for the National Parks Conservation Association, and we've been advocating for our national parks for over 100 years. We have an Arizona office in Tucson, and I am based out of our California Desert office. Again, we appreciate you saying you're not considering Cadiz today, but again, with the lack of information sharing and with the public in this process, we've spent a lot of time and a lot of other organizations have invested time on this matter, and we'd still love to comment. Just so the board appreciates how much of an economic and environmental disaster Cadiz would be for Arizona. We've twice spoken to the Long-Term Augmentation Committee about the Cadiz groundwater mining project, also called the Mojave Groundwater Bank Project, and why it is a problem for Arizona and water reliability. Cadiz recently partnered with EPCOR to get Arizona support. As you know, California officials and agencies have worked to block Cadiz because they have determined that Cadiz is not a reliable, sustainable water source. Those who have highlighted the problems with Cadiz include California Governor Newsom, California agencies like the Department of Fish and Wildlife, U.S. Senators Alex Padilla and Adam Schiff, and federal agencies like the National Park Service. The Cadiz groundwater mining project was proposed in the 90s, but hasn't been permitted or built because Cadiz would pump 25 times more groundwater than is replenished in the aquifer every year for 50 years. Cadiz has failed to advance in 3 decades because it would cost nearly $1 billion while offering communities an unreliable water supply that threatens taps being turned off due to overpumping. Cadiz would also dry up springs and groundwater-dependent ecosystem in federally protected national park and monument lands. The significant economic, environmental, and legal risk is why the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California voted against partnering with Cadiz in 2002. The Cadiz project and the idea of groundwater mining is so toxic that California passed special state legislation in 2019 to block Cadiz. You have a critical mission to provide Arizona with safe, affordable, and reliable water supplies. Cadiz is none of these, and that's why you should not entertain this disastrous proposal as you consider further projects in the future. And I just really appreciate you providing the opportunity to comment. But thank you.
Thank you, Chance. Now reiterate one more time for everyone here, Cadiz is off the table. We have one more comment, Ben?
We have Eileen Anderson, representing the Center for Biological Diversity.
Eileen, are you on the line?
I am. Do you hear me?
Yes, and before you start, are you going to address Cadiz?
I was, yes.
Do you understand that we've taken that off the table?
Yes, yes. For now, that seems to be the case.
Do you wish to proceed?
Yeah, I'll just make it short though.
Okay, thank you.
Because a lot of the speakers have already covered what I was going to talk about. My name's Eileen Anderson. I'm a senior scientist with the Center for Biological Diversity, and the center is a nonprofit conservation organization that's headquartered in Tucson, Arizona. We've been fighting the Cadiz project since around 2008 to try to protect the heart of the Mojave Desert from irreparable damage, particularly to the significant conservation investments of the Mojave Trails National Monument and the Mojave National Preserve. And we're going to continue to oppose the project on every front for those reasons. As others have said, there's legislation passed in California that requires a heightened level of environmental review for all aspects of that project. And while we understand that Arizona needs to look for water sources beyond the Colorado River, the Cadiz project is not the answers to Arizona's need. It basically will overdraft the groundwater, as others have mentioned, 25 times the natural recharge of that aquifer. So it would only offer unreliable and an unsustainable water supply to the off-takers of that water. So we're happy to hear that you're not considering the project at this point, but we will continue to engage with WIFA, and we appreciate the opportunities to do so to make sure that this project doesn't come forward to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eileen. Is there any additional board discussion? David?
Yeah, I was going to make this as part of my explanation of my vote, but I'll do it now.
Okay.
Joe Satelli talked about the fact that we have been treading between two legal masters. And this, I'm directing my comments toward the folks who just spoke, as well as all the public. And we have been treading between those two legal masters of open meeting law transparency versus initial procurement law confidentiality. And it's clear, we did our best in all that, but it's clear that you all have some confusion of what we have done. And thank goodness we're beyond as of today, we will be beyond the procurement law confidentiality, and our main master will be open meeting law. And this board is thankful for that. This project that we're looking at now, 4C, that everybody's just commented on, is not a groundwater mining project. It's underground storage of excess surface water. And it's not the Cadiz project. That project did not make it through the long-term water augmentation fund committee. And the comment that it's off the table for now, or at this point, those are incorrect. It did not make it through the committee. It will not be part of any of those projects that we are considering going forward. I just want to be very clear at that, because the first two speakers just talked about it. And then the third speaker, again, used the terms for now and at this point, as though we're going to be surreptitious and bring it back. We are not. It did not make it through the long-term water augmentation fund committee. That's my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Beckham. Appreciate that. Is there any additional board discussion at this time? Hearing none, may I have a motion for agenda item 4C, EPCOR Water Innovation Partners, other water sources?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Ted.
Mr. Chair, I recommend that the board accept the recommendation from the Long-Term Water Augmentation Committee and approve the EPCOR Water Innovation Partners Other Water Sources Water Importation Project.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Drew John, I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. John. Is there any additional board member discussion at this time? With no further discussion, we'll hear a roll call vote.
Mr. Beckham?
I'll explain my vote. It is aye. Again, this is not a groundwater mining project. We did not approve one. It is an underground storage of excess surface water project. As such, in my mind, it's an idea worth pursuing. That doesn't mean we've committed to it. It means we are now pursuing it to the next step. Aye.
Mr. Cook?
Aye.
Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Ms. Horstman?
I explain my vote, please.
Please proceed.
Thank you. First and foremost, the reason I'm voting aye is this is not Cadiz. It is not on the table. It was not approved. It would not be approved, at least from me. We are looking for discussions from the public and input for us to develop reliable, sustainable, safe, and affordable water projects. So I look forward to that vigorous discussion and public input. Again, my vote is aye.
Thank you, Patrice.
Mr. John?
Aye.
Mr. Kim?
Aye.
Ms. Michaels?
Yes, good morning again. My vote is aye, and just to underscore the process with the decision makers now, or applicants, can begin to interface with the public in a transparent way, and we can begin to better begin to assess whether this is in alignment with what our communities and our state's needs are as we seek other water resources. But certainly the criteria for that next step consideration, as with the other projects, has been met. And that is the reason for my aye vote. Thank you.
Mr. Tomier.
On behalf of myself and Tucson, and TSA, aye.
And Chairman Lyons.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, the vote is 9 yes, 0 no.
Motion passes. Thank you. Agenda item 4D, EPCOR Water Innovation Partners, wastewater reclamation. Director McGuire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As proposed by EPCOR, this water importation concept would use existing technology to treat wastewater that's currently being collected and treated in California for reuse in Mexico. The concept would include the phased development of a potable reuse facility near the existing treatment plant, and Arizona's investment would support development of the facility. Water supplied by the potable reuse would then be exchanged for a portion of Mexico's allocation of Colorado River water.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions for WIFA staff? Have we received any requests for public comment?
Mr. Chairman, no requests on this item.
All right. Once again to the board, any board discussion? I would entertain a motion for agenda item 4D, EPCOR Water Innovation Partners, wastewater reclamation.
Chair.
Ted.
Chair, I recommend that the board accept the recommendation of the Long-Term Water Augmentation Committee and approve the EPCOR Water Innovation Partners wastewater reclamation water importation project for base contract.
Thank you, Ted. Do we have a second?
Drew
I'll
John will second that.
Thank you, Drew. We had a tertiary motion as well. Is there any additional board member discussion? With no further discussion, we will do a roll call vote. Director McGuire.
Mr. Beckham.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
A quick explanation of my vote. I just wanted to say I really appreciate the interest so far in these projects, and if we have this kind of interest so early in the process as we unfold these, then I feel rest assured that these projects will be well vetted by the stakeholders of the state and experts and policymakers and the public. And so I'm excited to embark on that effort. And I'm grateful for those who are already expressing all kinds of interest and passion. And so with that, I vote aye.
Ms. Horstman.
Aye.
Mr. John.
Aye.
Mr. Kim.
Aye.
Ms. Michaels.
I vote aye with an explanation to underscore how exciting it is for me up in rural Arizona, where this is clearly a regenerative process. And when we do wastewater reclamation and put us in the lane of continual use, it's not just sustainability. We are now regenerating, providing regenerative sources for our community, which in many cases already exists up here, but in our more rural areas. But this is especially exciting because it has that additional component of the regenerative aspect. So I vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Tomier.
I will vote aye, and for the record, I am exiting the meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you, Tim, for
Our
sticking
regards
around.
to TSA. And Mr. Chairman Lyons.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, the vote is 9 yes, 0 no.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Agenda item number 5, call to the public. This is the time for any additional public comments. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Have we received any requests for public comments?
Mr. Chairman, there are no requests to speak on this item.
All right, briefly, before going to, or at the beginning of agenda item number 6 for agenda development, I just want to take some time, having served here since the inception of the new WIFA board. Oh, Tom, you have something as well?
Mr. Chair, if I
Yes.
could say the following for the benefit of the board and the public. So I want to say, and this is really my role as the Director of the Department of Water Resources, that the pursuit of these proposals will not obviate nor deflect my department from the path we are on to build upon Arizona's leadership in efficient water use, conservation, and reuse. I hear sometimes from folks that those are our tools, and why do we need to augment? We are not deflecting from that path. We will continue to pursue that, squeeze every drop out of the existing water supplies we have. But that's not going to be enough to deal with our current and future situation.
Thank you, Director. In addition to that, I'd like to thank everybody else who made it possible to get this far. With the foresight, Gail being one of those pioneers, Mr. Tim Dunn from Yuma, who has served in both the House and the Senate, and others who have taken the time to bring to our attention the deficit of water in Yuma, in Arizona. We also need additional water in Yuma. Sorry for that. But a lot of work has gone in to get us here today. This is an incredible board. We've had a little bit of turnover. It's a very diverse board in political thought, and yet it seems as if, for the most part, we've been unanimous in every decision that we've pushed forward. That is great. That's a great start. Tom called it a baby step, moving water augmentation forward for the state of Arizona, for our continued prosperity, and that's important. And I just wanted to thank each and every member of this board, past and present, and thank Ted for his leadership for the Water Augmentation Board, and give him the time to address us now if he so desires.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I won't take long here because I've already probably said everything that I have to say at least once in public and in the other room. This is a momentous milestone for all of us in Arizona. We've been waiting for something like this to develop, and not for lack of trying, over a long period of time. And we can certainly have cause for celebration. That being said, this experience that we've been through collectively in the last year and a half or so, specifically on this solicitation, has only been the warm up for where the hard work really begins. And in the other room, I don't think this violates open meeting law. In the other room, I said something about we're just getting out of our landing craft on the beach now. And the real battle is ahead of us, which is to further vet these projects as we've discussed today in open session, and evaluate them, and ultimately to choose one or more of them to actually produce some water for us. So this has been good for us. We're developing those muscles necessary to then do the next steps in this rather lengthy process, but it will be very rewarding for us. And as Director Bushosky just said, that this work goes hand in hand with all the other important work that's going on in this state with respect to conservation, negotiating the new set of guidelines on the Colorado River, and reuse. Conservation and reuse will not get us out of the hole that we're in with respect to supply, but these are the things that will sustain us until we're able to enjoy the fruit of this work on augmentation.
Thank you, Ted. And I see, Pete, your hand. Are there any other board members here that would like to address the public at this time? All right, Pete, we'll go to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I won't repeat all of the comments that I've made previously, as well as the comments of the rest of my fellow board members, which I agree with. The one idea that I wanted to float here is that though today we're taking a step to advance certain ideas into the investigation stage, which will be, as noted, conducted transparently with much more transparency now that we are allowed to do so, I also want to emphasize that the quest for new ideas is not over, that, we're going to need every good idea that we can find, not just the ones that happen to be available on the day that we took this vote. And so for those that have great ideas that are out there, we are certainly willing to listen to those ideas and to figure out how to bring them forward through the process. But we always have to keep in mind that the end goal is the end goal, and the process is meant to serve that goal, not the other way around. So if you do have good ideas, please bring them forward. I think you'll find a very, very open and willing audience to listen and to explore them with you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Appreciate that, and seems to be a little bit of discussion at this time. I'm going to ask Joe to weigh in on those comments.
Sure. I think that the questions posed were, would additional ideas be invited through this process? And the answer to that is that no, this process has closed. The board could certainly open other processes and entertain other projects through any of its funds. And I take Pete's comments to be directed at that.
Thank you very much.
And I would also add to that as well, Mr. Chairman, that I think a very good example that fits well into Mr. Kim's comments is the in-state loan fund that we have just opened, right? That there will be innovative ideas from water providers for what they need to do in-state right now, and WIFA can be a helpful source of low-cost financing for those ideas to have a more immediate impact on their ratepayers and their customers.
Thank you, David.
Okay, I'm going to address the Cadiz project again, though, because that was already brought to this, that was already brought to the Long-Term Water Augmentation Fund Committee. It didn't make it through. That's not one that Pete Kim was just talking about.
That one was loud and clear, folks. No Cadiz, got it.
It's for now, or at this point. That one's over. We're not doing that. He's talking about fresh ideas.
Thank you very much, David. Let's put that one to rest. All right. Agenda item number 6, Director McGuire, agenda development.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did make a few comments at the beginning of this meeting just regarding housekeeping on what we will see on the December agenda. So I won't reiterate those other than to say there will be quite a bit for you to catch up on. So just be prepared for probably a pretty lengthy board book. I do, however, want to take the opportunity in the agenda setting portion of the meeting to remind the public and to point the public to, we have said this is now your chance. This is now our opportunity that we are inviting you to comment, and we mean that. At this time, I think it is officially live, ltwaf.azwifa.gov. And if you do /importation, we will have summaries of each of the projects, a 1-page paper on what the project is as just approved. That is the landing page where any information about public engagement will be populated. We'll also do that through our typical GovDelivery WIFA mass communication channels. So if you are not signed up for those, please see us afterward. We'll show you how to do that. I say all of this, one, to show you that we do mean it when we say we are ready to open an intentional and structured and purposeful process for bringing the public into comment on these. But I also say that to say, now the ball is in your court. We want you here, and it will in fact be your responsibility, your obligation to come in and tell us what you think about these projects. We won't know if you don't tell us. So we will do everything that we can to be very open, very organized about the way that we will invite those comments, but we need them from you. And I'll reiterate what Director Davis said. We are really excited to see this level of enthusiasm, and I hope that that continues and escalates as we go throughout this next process. So feel free to visit that site, /importation. There's also, I will note, last thing, a QR code on that. If you scan that, there's a general public comment form on these projects. We'll be sharing all of those comments with the board at the appropriate time. But if you have something burning that you need to say right now, we wanted to give you the opportunity to do that. So please visit that site. Let us know any questions you may have.
Chelsea, all those are forward slashes. It's backslash.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is a forward. I say backslash, and I don't know why that's my habit.
Okay,
it's just a slash. I'm just going to start saying slash.
Okay.
Thank you, Director. For the board, are there any topics that you would like to identify at this time for placement on our next agenda? All right. Next meeting, Wednesday, December 10th, 2025, 9 a.m. Director McGuire.
You said it all.
All right. Thank you very much. It is now 11:37. This meeting is adjourned.